are characteristics of the Second Industrial Revolution. Steel, electricity, chemical, and petroleum industries. The Second Industrial Revolution, spanning from the late 19th century to the early 20th century, approximately 1870-194, marked a dramatic transformation in industrial development and global economic patterns. Unlike the First Industrial Revolution, which centered around textiles, coal, and steam power, the Second Industrial Revolution was characterized by the emergence of new energy sources, new materials, and advanced technologies that gave rise to steel, electricity, chemical, and petroleum industries. These sectors became the foundational pillars of modern industrial economies and reshaped global trade, urban life, and even warfare. 1. The steel industry backbone of industrial expansion. Bessemer process and mass production. One of the most defining technological breakthroughs of the Second Industrial Revolution was the Bessemer process, developed by Henry Bessemer in the 1850s, which allowed for the mass production of steel by blasting air through molten iron to remove impurities. This innovation drastically reduced the cost and increased the speed of steel production. B. Steel's versatility and applications. Steel's strength and durability made it the preferred material for infrastructure, leading to the rapid expansion of railroads, bridges, buildings, and ships. Steel became crucial in the development of urban architecture, particularly in the rise of skyscrapers and suspension bridges, transforming cityscapes across industrialized nations. C. Strategic and economic significance. Countries with access to steelmaking technology and resources quickly advanced in industrial capabilities. Germany, for example, rapidly caught up with Britain, while the United States surpassed both in steel output. By the early 20th century, steel was also vital to military advancement, being used in armaments and naval fleets, especially in the lead-up to World War I. 2. The electrical industry powering the modern age. Harnessing electricity. The invention of the dynamo electric generator and the ability to convert mechanical energy into electrical energy allowed industries and households to transition away from gas and steam power. Innovations by figures like Thomas Edison light bulb, electric grid systems, and Nikola Tesla, alternating current, revolutionized the generation and distribution of electricity. B. Urban electrification. Electric lighting replaced gas lamps, making cities safer and extending productive hours. Electric streetcars and subways revolutionized urban transport. Factories that once relied on water or steam could now operate independently of geographic constraints thanks to electrification. C. Rise of new industries and consumer goods. Electricity gave rise to a range of electrical appliances, including telegraphs, telephones, radios, and later refrigerators and washing machines. This created a consumer goods market and began to shift economies toward mass consumption. The telecommunications revolution, beginning with the telephone. Alexander Graham Bell and radio, Guglielmo Marconi, laid the groundwork for the modern information age. 3. The chemical industry innovation and synthesis. Synthetic materials and industrial chemistry. The Second Industrial Revolution marked the birth of industrial chemistry. Germany led the way with breakthroughs in synthetic dyes, fertilizers, and pharmaceuticals. Companies like BASF, Bayer, and Hoechst pioneered the transformation of chemical research into large-scale industrial production. B. Explosives and warfare. The development of chemicals such as dynamite, Alfred Nobel, and later, chemical weapons, showed the dual-use nature of chemical innovations. While these materials were used in mining and infrastructure development, they also had a profound impact on the military-industrial complex. C. Fertilizers and agriculture. One of the most transformative impacts of the chemical industry was in agriculture. Ammonia synthesis, later achieved through the Haber-Bosch process, enabled the mass production of nitrogen-based fertilizers, significantly increasing agricultural productivity and helping support rapidly growing urban populations. D. Consumer products. Soaps, detergents, cosmetics, and synthetic fibers began to appear in homes, changing hygiene practices and creating new markets for personal care and household goods. Chemical innovation thus played a crucial role in expanding the consumer economy. 4. The petroleum industry, fueling a mobile world. Discovery and refining of oil. The commercial drilling of oil, starting with Edwin Drake's well in Pennsylvania in 1859, laid the foundation for the petroleum industry. Early use was primarily for kerosene lighting, but with the invention of the internal combustion engine, oil became indispensable as a fuel. B. Automobiles and transportation. The introduction of the automobile, notably by Carl Benz and later mass-produced by Henry Ford, dramatically increased the demand for gasoline. A petroleum byproduct, oil became essential for transportation, contributing to the rise of car culture, modern logistics, and global mobility. C. Petrochemical developments. Petroleum was not only used as fuel, it also became the base for plastics, synthetic rubber, and chemical solvents. This broadened its use across sectors, including packaging, consumer goods, electronics, and warfare. D. Strategic importance of oil. By the early 20th century, oil had become a strategic resource, vital to both civilian and military applications. Control of oil fields became a geopolitical priority, shaping international relations and setting the stage for resource-driven conflicts in the 20th century. 5. Structural characteristics of the Second Industrial Revolution. Integration of science and industry. Unlike the First Industrial Revolution, where many innovations were the result of empirical tinkering, the Second Industrial Revolution relied on the systematic application of science to industrial processes. Universities, laboratories, and corporate research and development (R&D) centers worked together to fuel innovation. B. Rise of big business and corporations. This era saw the emergence of large industrial conglomerates and monopolies such as U.S. Steel, Standard Oil, and Siemens, which controlled entire sectors. These corporations introduced vertical and horizontal integration, leading to unprecedented scales of production and capital concentration. C. Global expansion and colonial exploitation. The new industries required vast amounts of raw materials, rubber, oil, metals, which industrial nations increasingly sourced from colonies. This led to the intensification of imperialism, with Africa, Asia, and Latin America being drawn deeper into global production networks. E. Labor and social change. Mechanization reduced the need for skilled labor in many sectors, leading to a rise in factory work, often under harsh conditions. Labor unions grew in response, pushing for better wages, working conditions, and hours. The new industrial economy also spurred urbanization, with cities becoming the centers of economic activity. 6. Broader impacts of the Second Industrial Revolution. Acceleration of economic growth. The Second Industrial Revolution spurred unprecedented economic expansion, enabling the rise of consumer capitalism and mass markets. National economies became more interdependent as trade in steel, chemicals, and oil grew. B. Military modernization. Industrial advances led to the development of modern armies, navies, and weaponry. The technological foundations laid during this period culminated in the mechanized warfare of World War I. C. Environmental consequences. The environmental impact of the Second Industrial Revolution was profound. Air and water pollution increased. Cities grew without adequate sanitation, and fossil fuel consumption initiated patterns that continue to affect climate and ecosystems. D. Foundations for the 20th century. The technological and industrial innovations of this period set the stage for later advances in aviation, electronics, mass communication, and nuclear power. It was truly the threshold of modernity, laying the groundwork for the 20th century. Conclusion. The Second Industrial Revolution was a turning point in human history. The rise of steel, electricity, chemical, and petroleum industries not only redefined economic production, but also reshaped societies, transformed global power dynamics, and established new paradigms for everyday life. These industries laid the foundations for the modern industrial world, changing the way people lived, worked, and related to one another. While the benefits of innovation were immense, they also came with profound social, political, and environmental challenges that continue to influence our world today.